Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the food experience. Today's experience, I got something really cool. I ordered this Vevor 22-inch flat top griddle, and it was on sale. Right now I think it's gone up in price. When I picked it up it was $109, and I think it's a very good deal. Since purchasing it right now, it is very well seasoned. I've cooked about 8 different times on it. And it's got just this nice smooth surface. Anyhow, you'll see, because I have a video of what happened when I unboxed it, cleaned it up, burned it in and seasoned it, and then did a couple sample cooks. And without further ado, let's check that out, and then I'll come back with my closing thoughts. And here we go. I just unboxed the Vevor 22-inch electric griddle. It comes with 2 spatulas, 2 basting brushes, and a user manual. It also comes with an electric cord with a plug, 3 prongs, so it has the ground on it. Let's connect it to power to make sure it powers up. Indeed, we do have a green power light. I believe it's off when it's in this mode. It does have a thermostat dial, and when you turn it, you hear a click when it hits 50 Celsius, and the little heat light turns on. Not a very bright light, but it does turn on. One thing about this, it is in Celsius, not Fahrenheit, but it's so easy to get a conversion. It goes up to 572 degrees Fahrenheit. Comes with a grease drawer, has a grease trap right on top. It also has some kind of paper here, kind of like a wax paper. Peel it off. And it has a whole bunch of oil on top. It's a manufacturing oil. You definitely want to clean it off before using it. I have some hot water and a sponge, in addition to some Dawn dishwashing soap. Let's go ahead and put down some soap, and then some fairly warm hot water. And let's start using the sponge and clean off that oil. Make sure to get in the little grooves on the side. So all the water, just wipe it down this way, and it's going to go into this little trough, which will then go into the hole and into the grease trap container. Probably should get the walls too. And you want to be careful. I notice some of these edges are a little bit sharp. They don't seem sharp enough to cut me, but they're not far off either. Rinse it with some water. And you want to do this kind of timely. You don't want to let it sit there soaking in water too long. It is made of an iron material and it will rust really quick. And this is going to take a few different rinses, I could tell. I have it heating up now, somewhere in between 250 and 300 Fahrenheit. I figure that's a good test, and it should help dry off the surface. I turned it up a little bit, just under 200 Celsius, which is probably around like 380 or something degrees Fahrenheit. There's a better look at the grease trap, but you can see how thick that cooking surface is. Definitely expect it to take a while to heat up because of that. Not that that's a bad thing, it actually does have its benefits. I'm using avocado oil for the seasoning, and you don't need to put too much, and just rub that oil in. You want it to be a super thin layer. And you want to use a high heat oil. You don't have to use avocado oil. You can use canola oil, vegetable oil, peanut oil, whatever suits your fancy. You can use lard, Crisco, whatever you like, but you definitely want to get it so it's a nice rolling smoke. It's kind of starting to do that now. Also get the sides. The smoke is starting to lessen a little bit, and instead of pouring more oil, I just applied it to this paper towel. And it's going to smoke up again because the oil is reaching its smoke point, and that's what you want it to do, so it ends up baking into the surface, and that's what's going to give it non-stick properties. And by the way, I'm at 389 degrees in the center, and I have it set at around 400 degrees, so I don't expect it to get any hotter during this. It's at 419 right now. And now the smoke is starting to stop, so I'm going to apply a little bit more. And you want to make sure it stays a thin layer. You don't want it to pool up. And I'm going to repeat this about 4 times to give it a nice seasoning. And again, get the back and the sides. And also the grease trough right here. The browning is starting to get out to the edges, which is nice. And the more you use it, the blacker it's going to get and the more non-stick it will get. The initial seasoning is just not going to do it all. It's been cooling down about 5 minutes and the center is still at 363 degrees, so it definitely holds its heat, which is good. And I'm applying one last little layer of oil here. And once with paper towel just to remove any excess. I turned it back on a little while ago to around 350 Fahrenheit. And yeah, we're at 361 right now. What I want to do is cook a few strips of bacon for the first cook. Alright, here goes nothing, folks. Time to turn the bacon over. Oh yeah, that's looking great, guys. Definitely looking really good. So if you want to get your bacon to cook nice and even, what you could do is use a bacon press. And I have a rather large one that I've been wanting to use on something that is able to handle it. And here we go. But it's going to make it nice and crispy, folks. And that bacon's actually looking pretty done. See if I could zoom in with the camera for you guys. Time to remove it. And put it on some paper towels. Time to make a cheesesteak. I've gone ahead and did some of the preparations ahead of time. I chopped up some ribeye, bell peppers, and onions. Also chopped up some pickles. To let everyone know, this is not a Philly cheesesteak, this is an Andy cheesesteak. Seasoning the meat with Kinder's The Blend, salt, pepper, and garlic. Seasoning the pickles with some salt and black pepper. Turning on the Vevor griddle, putting it at 200 Celsius. From what I've noticed, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to heat up to this temperature. Griddle's up to temperature, it's around 430 in the center. Putting down a little oil first of all. Adding some of the fat that I trimmed off of the ribeye. Adding some yellow, red, and orange bell peppers, along with some sliced onions. Onions and peppers look about done. They have a caramelized kind of look to them. Time to add the ribeye. cook that till there's a little bit of a crust on the bottom. Sure is smelling so good, guys. Also adding a little bit of salt, pepper, and garlic to the onions and peppers. A couple dashes of Worcestershire sauce in the meat. Bring the two side by side. Adding some American cheese on the top of the meat. Mix these together. All right, looking pretty groovy. Adding some pickles and some provolone. And a hoagie roll, and I've already cut out the top part a little bit, which will make for more room. Just put that right on top, and the steam from the meat will help steam the bun, and that should be good. Alright guys, there you go. Looking really good right about now. And that's about it. Next thing is to clean up the grill. Some of the cheese melted on. Or should I say griddle. Some of it's still stuck on, but nothing a little water can't fix. There you go, cheesesteak, Andy's way. Starting off with some strips of bacon. Time to flip over the bacon. If I want, I can also put my bacon press on. Speed it up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Putting down a little bit of oil, onions, putting down some butter, 4 ounces of beef, and smash. Oh, looks like that worked out rather nicely. I like the butter. The butter gives it a good flavor. But you want to leave it cook. You don't want to disturb it. Let it build up a crust. You should see the juices flow up through the top. Lay down a little more butter. And get some buns toasted. Seasoning the burger with the blend by Kinder's salt, pepper, and garlic. I see the juices have risen to the top. Oh yeah, it didn't even stick. Oh, that looks good. Has a little bit of sear. Definitely has some all along through it. Throw on the cheese, bacon, grilled onions. Yeah, definitely getting toasty now. The cheese is all nice and melted. And there we have it. Lastly, scrape everything down. It's morning time, nothing like some fried rice. Spreading down some peanut oil. First adding in 5 cloves of garlic. I'm doing that on the cooler side since garlic tends to burn. Also, I chopped up a whole shallot. Garlic is starting to brown, that's good. Next up, the rice. I cooked that last night. I'm going to grab the aromatics, put it right on top. Just want to get the rice broken up a bit. This is how I do it in a wok. I'm not sure if this is the best way to go on the flat top, but seems to be working. Adding in 4 serrano peppers that I sliced last night. Soy sauce. Add a little bit more oil. I'm going for a golden egg fried rice, so pouring the eggs right on top. And you don't want those eggs to really cook because they will solidify and you won't get the results that you're hoping for. It'll appear to be mushy at first, just keep working it. And just to let you know, the cooking surface is just above 400 degrees. It's right around 420 degrees. There we go. Everything's starting to come together. Add in the king of flavors, some MSG. White pepper. That's looking pretty dang good right there. Add in a touch of sesame oil. It's a great aromatic oil. You don't really use it for cooking. You just use it as a finishing touch type of thing. Lastly, adding some green onions. That's looking about done. Time to plate it up. There you go, that's looking pretty dang good. As a final test, I'm turning it on almost all the way up. As it is starting, it's about 81.5 degrees in the center. Right now it's been about 7 minutes and the temperature right in the center is right around 300 degrees. Off to the left side, 194. Off to the right side, 190. It's been 10 minutes now and temperature right in the center is at 390, 395. Now we are 14 minutes in and there is some slight smoke coming up. I want to mention that I did lay down a very thin layer of peanut oil right before I turned it on. Temperature right in the center is right at about 450 degrees. Just about 15 minutes in. Temperature reading from the dead center, anywhere from 450 to 460, even 470 in some parts. It is continuing to smoke, and I think this is the hottest I have taken it since I purchased this. Right now we're at 496, well, there we go, 501 in the dead center. That's after about 17 minutes. So right now the oil is definitely probably breaking down. Check that out, 577.7, 578. And that's after about 25 minutes. It's not like that all across the board, but it's still over 550 in a lot of places. 575 in some. That's pretty cool. Not that I'd want to cook anything at that temperature. Really, I can't think of anything. Maybe except like quick sear of a steak, and that's about it. So yeah, it definitely gets up to temperature. Pretty impressed with that. Welcome back everybody. That was a look at the Vevor 22-inch electric flat top griddle with cast iron cooking surface. You know what? I really love this thing. Everything I have cooked on it has come out perfectly with like almost no learning curve. And when I say that, it's because I used to have a Blackstone electric griddle and this just blows it away. The Blackstone had that like non-stick surface that eventually is not non-stick. With cast iron, all you have to do is season it and it'll last years and years and years. So, in this time I came up with some pros and cons, and we'll go over the cons first. The pros definitely outweigh the cons. One thing is, some of the edges are sharp, okay? I mean, not too sharp where they're going to cut you, but not too far off. Like the inner side of this is a little bit sharp. I mean, they could have done something to maybe make the edges a little bit smoother, and you could probably do it yourself, maybe with a metal file or, you know, coarse sandpaper or something like that. It's just something I wanted to mention. Even though I have not cut myself and I've worked with this thing extensively. Another item is the heat light. It could be brighter. It's not very bright at all. The power light is super bright, but the heat light, not so much. Another thing I want to mention is there is a noise when you turn it on and are preheating the flat top. It's kind of like a like type noise. It's not too loud, like I made it much louder than it is, but it is noticeable. You will notice it. Once it heats up to a certain point though, that noise stops. It goes away after like, I don't know, maybe 5 to 7 minutes. But it is something I want to mention. Also the temperature dial, it's in Celsius. I'm not really sure why they went that route. Maybe it's sold overseas in different countries where they use Celsius, but we use Fahrenheit in the United States, and it would be nice to see them update the dial with Fahrenheit numbers. Now, as far as the pros go, it's a nice big 22-inch surface. It's actually a little bit shy of that. It's kind of like 21.5 inches when I measure it. But it's still a nice big cooking area compared to, I think my Blackstone was 17 inches. So this provides just that little bit more. And it's very handy and it comes into good use. I really like the surface on it. It's a nice thick plate and it definitely seasoned well. I showed you through the seasoning I did and through all the cooks I did. And you can see right now it's almost seasoned all the way from left to right. Just some of the corner parts are not seasoned and maybe at the very edge. But otherwise, the whole thing is nice and seasoned and the surface right now is like smooth as glass. And I've already cooked fried eggs on it. I didn't include that in this video and I will come back and do some more videos. But the fried eggs just like glide across the surface. So nice. I also cooked an omelette, no sticking whatsoever. I also like the grease trap in the drawer that they have right here. Makes it very easy to catch the grease, and the drawer definitely holds a good amount. Also, I really like the walls around the sides and the back. It totally prevents splatter from going outside of the device. Normally when I cook with a cast iron skillet on the stove, it splatters here, there, and everywhere, and I got to clean up the stove. It's got a glass top, and it's a real pain to work with. With this, I don't have to worry about any of that. There's literally no splatter going on the outside anywhere. It's definitely super easy to clean. I think I showed you in some of the cooking examples. If anything does get stuck, which proteins are going to stick to it, it's just how it is with either rolled steel or cast iron. Those things happen. But you just use your bench scraper, kind of scrape it off, and then just douse it with some water while it's hot, and the steam itself will definitely get rid of anything else that's remaining. And then you can use the bench scraper to wipe off the water if some remains. Pretty much won't though. It's going to immediately vaporize and turn to steam. Also, I feel the preheat doesn't take too long. I showed you in my cooking examples right at the very end. I did some preheat tests and I told you the time and temperature it was at. And it doesn't seem to be out of the ordinary of anything else that I use. Also, the temperature of the flat top seems to be pretty constant, even when I add some cold items. Like the ribeye meat I put on there was cold, so were the peppers and onions. And they seem to be cooking. Like on my Blackstone, I noticed if I threw something cold down on there, it would start off nice and hot, but you could tell the temperature would go down because the sizzling just wasn't as evident. And with this, it just doesn't really lose it. And I think that's because, number one, it's cast iron, and number two, it's a nice thick surface. I also like that it comes with 2 spatulas and 2 basting brushes, even though I've bought some other spatulas that are a little bit longer. I think for the average person, it's good enough to get you going, and they're useful accessories that they come with. I also like that it has the standoff feet. I didn't really show assembling it. They come loose in a bag and all you do is screw them in. But what's really cool is in case your countertop or surface is not level, you can literally unscrew or screw in each one of those legs separately and adjust the height that way. Because I noticed on this countertop with them all the way in, there's a little wobble. So I unscrewed the one on the right just a little bit till it was perfectly level. Another thing that could be considered a con that I wanted to mention that I didn't mention is there is no on-off switch, technically. There kind of is though, because when you're at the temperature dial, it starts off on C, and the first temperature is 50, which is way over from the C. So you have all this space in between, where the device, even though the power light is on, it's not really on. It's not activated until you get to the 50 mark. So Even though it doesn't have a power switch, that almost acts like a power switch. And really, that's about it. That sums it up. Now, would I purchase this if I didn't already purchase it, knowing everything I know about it? Heck yeah, double thumbs up on the Vevor 22-inch electric flat top griddle. I absolutely love this thing. You know, a lot of my friends, they're like, hey Andy, why don't you get like a propane grill or a propane flat top? I can't have one. The apartment I'm in forbids using those on the balcony. However, they didn't say anything about using a flat top electric griddle on the balcony. Stay tuned. That may be coming to a KJ Andy O food experience very soon. And with that said, if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, or you have tried any other Vevor products, they make a lot of products, folks. They have a wide range of stuff, and I might be interested in a few more things, so stay tuned on that. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I got all kinds of good things coming up. I do a lot of air frying videos. I'm going to be doing a lot of griddle videos, anything that's food related. I do spicy stuff, challenges, I review restaurants, basically anything food related you could find right here on the Food Experience. So with that said, until next time, have a stellar day, be excellent, and most of all, remember me, I'm KJ Andy O, your Food Experience host with the most. Y'all take care, and I'll see you next time.